on where now this is Combat Culture Africa. On the microphone, as usual, is none other than your boy, Oche Young Jollof Edache. Today, I have a guest that I am really excited for. He is someone who has been instrumental and pivotal in my own journey as a mixed martial artist, as an athlete, and just as a man, period. Like period, because he was my coach when I was an MMA. He doesn't know how much of an influence he's had over me, but I mean, we're recording this podcast together. Hopefully, I get a chance to make him know how important he is. But yeah, none other than the Minister of Fitness himself, Dana Black, Icebox, Mayo Okunnu. Ladies and gentlemen, he's in the studio with us today. Mayo, say something for the people.
Yeah, I'm right here. Hello, everybody. It's super good to be here. I had to try and wipe up the blush on my face when you were introducing me there before this before this started. But yeah, man, super good to be here. It's amazing to be at a show that we started together and seeing how far it's come now. Doing this whole remote tech field style. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think growth is something that, especially when your environment is trying to press you down, you owe it
Mm,
to not just yourself, you owe it to everyone around you, especially yourself, but everyone around
mm.
you to just grow. Because 2019, 2020, 21, with the pandemic and everything, combat culture just died. But it's just nice that we could adapt to that change. I mean, it took us how many years, but we've adapted to that change, and we're back, and it's glad. I'm just happy to have you as a guest on, man.
Yeah, man. Honored to be here as well, man. Absolutely. And great that you brought up like what COVID did. So COVID wasn't all bad. It helped us to sit back a little bit and re-strategize and think about some things. But it definitely had its effect in the sense that, we paused a lot of things that we were doing. And so in some ways, even sucked out some of the joy in some of the things we were doing. Um, but it's amazing finding that joy again and redoing it even in a better way. So,
Yeah,
yeah, COVID was such an interesting time. Like, I feel
yeah,
like
yeah.
that deserves a whole podcast episode its own, just what COVID
To,
did.
to be honest, bro, I'm actually curious to know if you don't mind us starting on that note. Um, what was something that
Yeah.
COVID did to you? How did COVID change you?
Ooh, man. So, COVID forced me to slow down because I've been that guy who's always believed in speed. Like since I was a kid, I've always been I was in a hurry to start walking. I was in a hurry to start talking. I was in a hurry to grow up. I definitely hated being a kid. Like I thought adulthood just meant freedom. I felt like you're a kid, that means they tell you everything to do. But once you grow up, you can now do what you want to do. So I was in a hurry for that. I was in a hurry to finish uni. I was in a hurry to start life. I was in a hurry to start earning. So I've always believed in speed. I've always wanted to just be fast, fast, fast. And sometimes that's a very good thing. You hear a lot of business mentors talk about speed, in decision making and speed in business being so important. But in some other ways too, speed can be very detrimental to yourself because I know for sure as a person, I use speed as a reason to not deal with some things. I use it as a coping mechanism. Sometimes when I know there's some heavy stuff to think about, I use speed as my reason not to think about those things. So COVID forced me to slow down. It made me go against my own very nature, and there was nothing I could do about it. It's just everything had to be thought out. So there was market days or the days when you expect to be outside to go shopping. There was obviously nobody would go to the office. My cars gathered dust. All the numerous things that we found was that we thought was so important about life and our day-to-day activities just disappeared. And all of a sudden we had to find new important things, and those things were a lot less. So it forced me to start thinking. So I'm ever grateful for this slowing down that it did and forcing me to think about a lot of things about my my myself as a businessman, myself as a person, as a friend, as a brother, son, father, uh, partner, with my positioning in business. What have I really created? Have I created anything? Is this the end of it? So there were so many deeply philosophical questions that had to be answered. And if COVID didn't happen, only God knows when in the future that would have happened. And so COVID really. So I'm thankful for I'm thankful for COVID for that. But then the downside was I found myself making a lot of promises about what post COVID was going to be like, and every time I don't fulfill a promise, it dents my value system of myself, because I felt like I was in a experimental box. It was a controlled environment, and the things that I strongly believed in that environment changed again when the environment went back to normal.
mm,
So that was hurtful, and and then I got comfortable and used to living a semi-selfish life in the sense that all the attention was on myself. Like I was fending for myself, I was earning for myself, I was my only employee, um, and life was a lot simpler. So it gave me a taste of that again, and then going back to being super responsible for a lot of people, which is the hardest thing I find from business, being responsible for a lot of people. Um, and I say a lot of people, but obviously I'm speaking in my own terms. So 20 odd people might be nothing to Nelumelu and Co that have, thousands of employees on there. But it's a lot for me. It's felt like a lot. So shifting from that selfish state of mind to a more selfless leader was also tough again. And I was doing some personal problems as well. I lost my brother at the end of 2020. So
yeah,
there was
I
a
remember
whole,
that, man.
yeah, there was a whole avalanche of crap that came with that. So having to juggle all those things, it was very, very tough on my mind. So yeah, that was COVID though. COVID was
Mm,
good in some senses, made me come into myself, made me face myself, but it was bad because it also left some damage on me too.
mm,
Some of the promises to myself that I didn't keep.
mm.
Yeah, man.
All right, man, bro. You've said some things, man. Slowing things down. That's something I
Mm.
can relate to. COVID
Mhm.
forced me to have no other choice but to look at myself. I had no
Yep.
choice. Like it's like, okay, what are those questions you don't like to ask? What are those things you don't like to confront? I
Yeah.
I went on this really crazy transformational journey with my body, and all of
Mm.
that came from just being forced to slow down. So I can totally relate with that. The other
Mm.
thing was yeah, COVID, that period of where the podcast fell apart and life changed so drastically. I think it changed me in some, even it changed me in some ways that till now I'm not really aware of. Like I had to change my personality to adapt to the times, and the times changed, but my personality never adjusted. I think my
Just yeah,
personality
yeah, yeah.
remained in that pandemic period. I became a lot more introverted, started reading more, so I can understand, I can relate with quite a few things that you said. And I mean, now here we are. The thing is, the beautiful thing about life is it doesn't care. It just keeps
It doesn't.
moving
You're
forward.
right.
It just keeps moving forward. Anyway, Mayo, before we go too far into the philosophical and the deep talk,
Yeah.
why don't we just start with our first question of the day? I'm going to bring up the banner on the screen,
Okay,
and
great.
it's going to say, you know what's funny? It actually says, "Who is Maxwell?" Maxwell Mayo,
Okay,
Mayo
nice.
Icebox Okunnu. And obviously, because Maxwell was our guest last week. But yeah,
Last week,
first guest on
yeah.
the screen. All right, Mayo. However you want to answer, who is Mayo Icebox Okunnu?
All right. Mayo Icebox Okuno is a multi-layered, multifaceted man, um, who has been involved in so many different things and continues to do so. I am the Minister of Fitness. I am the Icebox. I am Dana Black. I am all those people because of all the different things that I do. So Icebox is my original, fight name, given to me by a good friend back in the UK. For my steely demeanor, a lot of people won't believe that I had that, but
What's
I
your
did.
friend that gave you the name? Please, what's his name?
Um, Anthony, I can't remember his last name to be honest.
Shout
Yeah,
outs to
but
Anthony, wherever you
shout
are.
out
We
to
love you.
Anthony, good guy. Yeah, he gave it to me while I was at work. Um, so he, so anyway, so Icebox, I had a steely demeanor. I I was finding my persona for being a supervisor in a bar, and I just my persona was just not take any crap, and there was a lot of crap, because everybody's drunk. People love to drink in the UK. So dealing with all that, I just didn't used to take any nonsense from anybody. And I was a small dude, still not a big guy, but I used to just try my best to not let people try to mess with me. And I knew what I could do. I just didn't want to have to do it. So I just had that whole steely thing. So my strict persona gave me the Icebox name, from the song, the Marion song. Um, Maya is my actual name, but Maya Okunnu, like you introduced in the beginning, uh, actually means joy. So which is another thing I really love to do. I actually love to make people laugh. People who know me well might know that I have a silly side to me, which I actually miss sometimes. Um, and I missed out fitness, obviously, because that is what I do. My slogan, "Your fitness is my business." So I have Bodyrox Fitness Studio, which I'm CEO of, and that's going to be, 10 years in January 2025. That's 10 years in Nigeria. It's already 10
Congratulations
years.
on that, man.
Thank you,
Congrats.
man. Thank you. It's already, it was 10 years in his whole lifespan in this December 1st this year. So, because started in the UK. And what a what a vessel. It's probably the thing I've done the longest in my whole life. Like, it's like a weird marriage that I'm not allowed to divorce. It's like, because there have been times when I felt like I wanted to divorce it.
Mm.
Yeah, it's been like 2020. But it's me, and no matter how tough things get, I just I can't give up on it. And I can only evolve with it, evolve to a standpoint where
Can we
it
can we can we pause there briefly, bro? Sorry
okay,
to
network
interrupt
is
you.
what okay, network.
No, no, no,
Sorry.
no, no, no. It's not the network, man. Let's pause there. Can you please tell the people what Body Rocks Fitness Studios is? Where we
Oh,
hopped
okay, cool.
right into it, but yeah, just tell the
Oh, okay,
people
great.
about Body Rocks Fitness Studios, your baby.
All right. Bodyrox Fitness Studios, my baby, was, I'm going to speak like my pastor spoke this morning. I was impregnated with the idea of Body Rocks since 2012. And in my little sketchbook where I put everything back then, I designed what it would look like. And in my head, like in some time in the future, I'd have this thing. And anyway, I didn't have the balls to make it happen at the time. I didn't even feel deserving of something like that. I was just comfortable, doing what I was doing, working until that comfort was taken from me. That's actually my relationship with God. That's how God deals with me. God will tell me what to do. I'll resist because I guess I'm stubborn. I'm like, I'm not going to do it, or I'm not going to do it now. And God will be like, okay, you're not doing it because you're comfortable, so I'm going to strip you of your comfort. Then I have to do it. So that's how it was. I lost my job, but not technically. I just got my hours really reduced. So I technically, in a way, I kind of lost my job, and I just had to get serious with it. So I started Body Rocks off, then, which I still abandoned. I ran away from it. I did it for like 2 months. I hated being self-employed because I hated how irregular money was. Like you can't decide how much, you don't know how much you're going to make. I couldn't plan. I just hated it. It was so volatile. So I ran away. The moment I got an opportunity to go do something else again, I left it.
And this
I'm
was in
going to do that.
Sunderland in the UK, yeah?
This was in Southern UK, yes.
Yeah, okay.
So I left it right off, going to do something else. And there I learned a lot about how to run a fitness business, how to use quality of work and true belief to bring people near you. So I already have like a natural, I don't know if saying this kind of jinxes it, but I already have like a natural magnetism with people. People tend to be drawn to me for whatever reason, and I'm thankful to God for that. But how to build on that
I'm so
is
happy that you can acknowledge that openly,
I know I've
because
come a long way, right? I
when
would I would
you
cringe when
have,
people would, yeah, I would cringe when people would say it before.
that's
Like,
growth,
oh,
bro. That's growth.
the way you say
No, no, it is what it is, bro. It is what it is.
yes, it is. It is. It's a gift. It's a gift I've been given. Same thing, running away from my own gifts. It's been a story of mine for a while, but no more. So I use the work ethic. You know, that solidifies the pool. People see this thing like, oh, this amazing service this guy is doing. I'm I'm going to come for this and I'm going to be a part of it. And so that's how Bodyrox was born. Bodyrox was born in multiple times. Let's say I had a miscarriage the first time, and the second time it was born in the UK. Then it was reborn in Nigeria. It's going to be 10 years, 2025. And yeah, it's been this business that's helped people become better versions of themselves. And that people I'm talking about is not clients now, not just clients. The clients is the obvious part. People that come in, whatever their fitness levels are, they want to get better, they want to just be good, or they want to be unique, they want to be strong, they want to be. So it's this broad spectrum of help that we can offer. Okay, you're an athlete, you want to become a pro athlete. Okay, great. Okay, you don't seem to have any athletic ability at all because you've never done anything. Oh, fancy that the owner of this business has exactly the same story. So now I'm going to key into that and become something better than I was. Oh, I'm a lady, I've had 3 kids, my body is fighting me. Like, I don't know what, my body's a mess. Now I want to put it back together and I want to do other people who are fighting the same fight. So it's a broad spectrum of individuals here. But the part that I've never acknowledged before until recently is the betterment of the people that come to work with me. Those guys come in as people who've never been under any real employment. Yeah, they like there are a lot of people that are in that category, by the way. I'm sure you maybe work in a
Hmm.
club, you're a waitress or whatever. You don't have any contracts, you don't have anything. You just tell you, well, we're going to pay you this at the end of the month, and they might not pay you, and you stay there. There's a lot of people in that fall in those categories that don't have any real employment. And the moment they do anything, whatever they do that is right is just copying what somebody else is doing or following instructions. But there's no room
Hmm.
to become a good employee because you've learned like
Of
employee
course.
ethics, all those kind of things. So that is what Bodyrox has been for a lot of people. It's been the first opportunity for a person in your, from your background, which might be one where you don't have any real educational qualifications, or one where you just never been taken seriously because you're like a really skinny kid. Nobody thinks you could ever be a fitness instructor. So you get opportunity to have your first real employment where you're taking it seriously, your values, and you learn some tough lessons. I can be known as a really nice boss, but I can also be known as a really horrible person sometimes. But I don't feel bad for any horrible stories anybody might have with me because I've become if I had to be the villain in your story to make you a better person, then I'm okay with that.
Mm, mm, mm. I
Yeah.
respect that. I
So
respect that.
yeah. So whatever my part is to play, all I know is that the end game is you becoming better. And the
Mm,
worst case scenario for you passing through Body Rocks is you left too early and you learned nothing. Then that's the worst
mm,
case for you.
mm, mm,
So
mm.
that's where Body Rocks is. And that's what Body Rocks
Bro,
that is what Body Rocks is. It's a place where people just become better.
I love
That's
that.
my clients and my team, yeah, and myself because I've
Yeah,
definitely
you're the one.
worked with-
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I've come about
It came from somewhere. It came from somewhere, and
that.
I know for a fact that it came from you. Now, I'd like to know though, all this being said, what's your philosophy? Your training philosophy has influenced my development as an athlete because, as you know,
Mm.
I still consider myself to be an athlete. I just don't compete. Like I'm competing with who I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
yesterday.
yeah.
I'm not competing with
Mhm.
anybody in the cage anymore.
I
But
love
I'm
that.
curious because I've always wanted to know in a bit more detail what your philosophy is towards training, because you've introduced me to so many things. You introduced me to mobility. You put me
Mm,
on the path that eventually got me into breath work. You're the guy
mm,
that made me think of it as a neurological activity, something that involves the brain making connections with parts of its body. I didn't think of fitness in these ways before. You made me think of fitness in terms of quality of life, how to live a more fulfilling life. That was something nobody before you had done. This is even
mm.
before MMA, and that's my personal story. So, with regards
Oh,
to you now as a person, this is your effect on me, but you're the source, you're the cause. What is your training philosophy? Because I'm personally curious to know, and I'm sure people watching would like to know as well. Shout outs to our viewers at home. I can see the numbers going up. Thank you.
oh, great, 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 great. Happy to hear that. And thank you so much for that. That acknowledgement, I wouldn't let that pass without saying thank you for that, because it's always great to hear and it's always encouraging for me. So I can't talk about any of my philosophies without speaking about my coaches too. And that's the way you spoke about me. I'll speak about the people that really shaped things for me. So I can never not mention Les Hollywood Ojubana, my first real coach, the
Mm.
first person to introduce me to MMA at all. So that's one person. And then the last coach that I had, Coach Ian Andrews, and is a brilliant, brilliant man. And we two of them have completely different styles, but I needed the two styles. I couldn't, if I had to reshape how my coaching was or my growth in MMA, the only thing that I would change is I would have made myself start earlier. That's all. But nothing about the people. So Les Hollywood has a very tough love, be the toughest guy. Can I swear on this show? Probably not. Be the
You
toughest
can
guy
you can swear
you
on the
can
show, Mayo. You
possibly
can you
be.
can swear. Mayo, can you hear me? You can swear on the
Um,
show.
I know if you're part of the top 1% in toughness,
Yo,
and
Mayo, can
then
you
you
hear me?
back that up with skill as well. That was like a winning formula. And that's how we started. So first years of training was just facing that toughness, because fighting is tough. No matter what you say, no matter how much you love fighting, no matter how inbuilt it is in you, it's a tough thing. Even the Spartans acknowledged the toughness of it. You know, it's it's why they were valued and revered, is because they did a tough thing that a lot of people could not do. You know, so it's a tough thing, and Les really taught me how to be a tough guy, and he showed that, and he showed how that learn how to be tough can translate into your life as well. Make tough decisions, because you can compare it to. It's why I really like Kiyosaki's books, Robert Kiyosaki's books, because he talks about how that military mindset can really help you to be business. Because if you're used to making tough calls, or if you're used to you're being exposed to tough experiences, tough calls become easier for you. And being a CEO or entrepreneur is the ability to quickly make tough calls quicker than the ordinary person. That's what gives you that position. In fact, as number
Hmm.
one.
Hmm.
So, um, so Les taught me that I had to be a tough dude, and it was brilliant. I loved his support. His support was very brotherly. He was a brotherly kind of support, like a big brother. He had walked the walk before. He was still walking the walk while I was learning, and that was excellent for me to see and to take courage from, and to gain experiences from. And it was a brotherly coaching style. Then when I turned pro, my coach now became Coach Ian
How
Andrews.
many fights? How many fights did you get before you turned pro? And this was mixed
Okay,
martial arts. Which sport
yes, I had.
specifically were you competing in?
Okay, yes, I had 4 amateur fights, 4 amateur MMA fights, which I got 2 titles in 2 different weight classes. Then I had 6 semi-pro fights, which I got 1 title at featherweight. I got that from fighting Ali McRae. God rest his soul. He passed a few years after our fight. One of the toughest fights I ever had. Um, and then I had 6 pro fights, which I lost 1 of them. So I had a total of 16 fights with 1 loss. So yeah, that was that. So by the time I turned pro, my coach was Coach Ian Andrews, and he had a very so I already started developing. I already knew I was different. I was different from my teammates. I was bred in toughness. I had a lot of very tough guys in my team, but I knew I was different. I was different in the way I came up. I was different on my background. A lot of them had sporting backgrounds, or they'd done karate or judo or something. I hadn't done any of that. I was just a university guy, university student. That's that's all I had. If mixing chemicals was like something you could do in the ring, yeah, that would have been great. But I didn't have anything like that. So I knew I was different. My approach to a lot of things was different, and I was very aware of
Sorry,
the
Mayo,
fact that
one second.
yeah.
What's your degree? What's
Okay.
your bachelor's undergraduate degree in? Because let people know more. Like,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
what's
So
your
I started off
actual
with
background?
yeah. So I started off in chemical and pharmaceutical science, but I finished with pharmacology. So pharmacology was that
Mm,
what we went into. What I
mm,
finished with.
mm.
So yeah, that's why I said mixing chemicals. So I was a chemistry guy, you know,
And
and
you need to tell the guys at home about how you were helping people in your gym prepare for like their bodybuilding competitions with your chemical
oh,
skills.
that one, yeah,
If you know what I
with
mean,
my
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, we've done a lot of things.
Please tell us, please.
I mean, they're all legal stuff, so I can say, but let me finish about Coach Ian. I don't want to do him a disservice and not talk about him enough. So Coach Ian Andrews,
Mhm.
our relationship was more father and son. With Les, it was brother, brother, older brother, younger brother. With Coach Ian, it was more father. He was much older. He came from a different pedigree. He he understood and helped me still develop my cerebral approach. By the way, this show was almost remember this show was almost going to be called the Cerebral Pugilist. Do you remember that as one of our options
Mm,
or
mhm, mhm.
potential names? Yeah,
Cerebral
yeah,
pugilist.
yeah,
I remember that. Yes,
yeah.
yes, yes.
So I got that from him because he always believed in being the smarter fighter. He said the smarter fighter will always be able to put, even if he doesn't have as much in any specific thing, he'll be able to put everything well together enough and know enough about his opponent to beat his opponent. So,
Mm,
and I love that because that resonated with me because I never felt like I was the strongest, the fastest, definitely not the most experienced, definitely didn't have the background that a lot of these guys had, that my opponents had. So I was always very aware of these limitations. So having that kind of approach where I was thinking, because I know I had a brain, I could win my fights with that. And I started doing yoga in secret. It's not like now where people are open to doing everything. I was in the toughest sport in the world with the toughest dudes in the world. I had to lie. I couldn't tell them I was doing yoga because so I used to go
you
out of
weren't trying
town.
to look like no bitch,
Nah,
bro. You weren't trying to look
nah,
like no
nah, nah,
bitch
nah,
doing
nah, nah.
yoga.
I,
You're a tough guy in a
I
tough
used to
gym. You
go
only do tough stuff.
out of town to do yoga. I'll do it on a Sunday and I will come back and people will see me sweating. Like when I come back, where are you coming from? And I would say, oh, I ran from my house. So that's that's what I was doing. It was something I lied about, for the longest time until it just kind of just came out. And even then, when it came out, we were like, "Oh, you must fancy the girl, some girl there. That's why you're going." I'm like, "Nah, I just need to be better." But when I told my coach that I wanted to start doing yoga, actually, I told him I was already doing it, but I told him like as if I was thinking about doing it. I wanted to see his reaction. I was like, "Yeah." So I want to get more flexible. So I want to start going for yoga classes. Then he showed me a video with Arnold Schwarzenegger, doing ballet classes to improve on their poise and their form when they were doing their poses. And there was Arnie in a tutu. I was like, what? like, where's this video? Like, does anybody know this video exists? I'm like, yeah, it's those who care to know about
Mhm.
how wholesome and how much you have to bring in to become the best in what you do. They know about this. But everybody who just thinks this is a linear thing,
Of course.
just needs to become a good puncher, needs to knock out artist or submission. These guys only go so far. They will be good for a while, but they're not going to, be relevant for very
Last
long.
long, longevity,
Yeah,
legacy, all those
longevity.
important things.
Longevity
Yeah, you won't get those.
It,
Yeah.
it, it truly is. And that's why someone like GSP can still, till today, be a very formidable opponent for anybody, because he is so about bringing all the pieces together, like making it make sense for him. He's so smart in that way. Every fight he had, it was a different game plan, it was a different approach to it because you could tell it mattered to him. It's awesome when you have a fighter who is so tough and like bring anybody any day, I'll take him. I love that mentality. But what I love more is when I can strategize and on
Mm-hmm.
paper you should beat me, but I'll beat
Mm-hmm.
you. That's
Yeah.
my favorite thing in this world. All right,
The
so
art of war,
some of the
brother.
things I do for the
Martial
guys.
arts. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Some of the things I do for the guys, I used to live with a guy who was nicknamed the chemist or the pharmacist, because he always wanted to. So Sunderland is a very bodybuilding rich, city, and so
Yo,
everybody.
Mayo, hold that thought. I need to switch
Okay,
my inverter to bypass mode so that
okay,
if NEPA takes light, this podcast won't be
it will
interrupted.
it will
And
stay right.
let me,
Okay,
yeah, just give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
sure, 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 sure.
All right, brother. I'm right back. You were talking about Sunderland and the chemist.
Yeah. So Sunderland, man, everybody knows I love that place. I miss it. It's a place. It's a proper blue collar city. Everybody works. Everybody just it feels it's classed as a city. There's a university there. There's a cathedral, I guess, but it feels like a town. It's like a big town where people know people. You kind of know who's in town. You know everybody in a way. Um, Brilliant city, but there's a big bodybuilding culture there. And when there's a big bodybuilding culture, there's also a big, like assistance, chemical assistance culture as well to follow, to follow with that as well. And so yeah, it was very normal for people to discuss things like this. Oh, what are you on? It's just a normal conversation. If you come in, you're looking jack. Hey, what do you take? It's like it's just normal. It's just normal combo. Anybody can ask you that. I don't need to be your friend to ask you that. Hey, what are you on, man? And you can just tell me, hey, I'm on Deca, I'm on, trend. And that
Oh
was
yeah,
normal.
so for my
So
for me and the people at home, give us some insight into different kinds of chemicals that you can inject into your body and the potential benefits slash side effects and drawbacks as a
okay.
bodybuilder.
So yes. So as a bodybuilder, most people are looking for, mass, trying to build that muscle as fast as possible. So a lot of the steroids are, testosterone based steroids. So there's TRT. So once you're pumping test, that's how it's locally, like a slang called test, into your system, your recovery is better, you're stronger, you're more aggressive, your muscles pump fast and big, and it's intoxicating how strong you can get. Like you can have like 10-20% like strength gains in just a couple of weeks kind of thing. Like it's so crazy how strong you become. I'm I haven't taken testosterone before, but I've seen this thing in my eyes. Like this guy was only benching
Maya, are you
130.
sure? Are you sure?
I haven't.
Are you sure? The way you're
No,
talking,
I'm not.
the way me
I'm
and you,
telling you.
we've talked about
Yeah, yeah,
drugs
yeah.
severally, and
So let me say what it
the way
is.
your eyes light up, you're just so happy. I'm just like, are you sure this guy has never
Because
done this
let me
thing
say what it
before?
is. I am not opposed to it. And when I hit a certain age, I'm gonna I'm gonna take something. I'm saying it now. I'm gonna take something. I just can't do testosterone right now. Definitely not. Because even if I wanted to, because I'm already fighting a battle, keep my hairline, trying to keep my hairline forward. If I if I take even 1 ml of testosterone, my hairline
Mm.
will completely vanish, like straight up. So I'm not ready yet to give up on the hair. But if naturally the hair just decides to go, I might I might bring my date forward. I'm like, you know what? Let's just start
Yeah.
this thing now. So anyway, so
Yeah.
testosterone
Yeah.
is the most common thing. There's things like Deca. I can't remember the full meaning of Deca. There's Trenbolone. All those things too just help with massive strength and size, muscle size gains. Um, there's a lot of peptides people take. People take growth hormone. You know, so some of the benefits, like I said, are recovery, strength, vascularity. Sometimes you just want to get tight, you want your veins to be popping out. There's things, things you can take for EPO. EPO is great for that. That's what this guy got busted for. Um, what's that little guy,
The biker.
bantamweight guy? No,
Oh, I thought it
from
was
that
the
was formerly
cyclist.
Team
The
Alpha
cyclist.
Male, but joined doing lot.
TJ Dillashaw.
EJ Dillashaw, yeah, that's what he got busted for.
Yeah.
So there's EPO, there's a whole
Yeah.
bunch of stuff
EPO.
you can take.
Yeah.
And but
EPO is
peptides,
supposed to make your body produce more red blood cells, right?
yes. So that's why that vascularity comes with it as well, because dilates everything. Things like popping, and you just see the veins when you jack. You just come and look like the Hulk, like you're pumping, man. So all those things are illegal. They're all medication. They're all for different reasons. They exist to help it with different things. And there are times in your lives where you actually sometimes need that thing for, like, to help get you back. Maybe your testosterone levels drop, in your 40s or whatever. You want to just give you a little boost. But all these things get abused and get used for different reasons as well. But there are guys online that can help you. They look at your profile, then they can help you. Build what you want to get safely, because everything else can have side effects. Like gynecomastia is one of the things that everybody now knew about after Easy's suspicion came up. So you get like
Yeah, man.
so in some of this we still call them
Menopause.
bitch tits. Like, oh, if
Yeah.
it's like if you have the bitch tits, then you got the guy the gyno, and that's one of the some of the effects. Or if you're trying to have kids, you can't be on a lot of these things too, because you shut down your sperm production. And so that's the problem, because it sets you off in this. You're taking this, then you're taking this to counter that thing, or you're taking this thing to, and you just end up in this endless. And then the psychological effects is the worst part, because you get used to this strength and everything goes that quick. Like the moment you're off, like those strength gains you were getting, go you start looking at yourself like, oh, you feel flat, you feel like it can be so instant. A lot of people just get driven to go back, like it's like an addiction.
Mm.
I got it. So anyway, that's the little, you know let's not bore everybody with all that stuff, but chemical enhancement has been going on for a long time.
Bro,
As
thank you, but no. I need, let me add something to
okay.
that, man. It's not a waste of time, because I
Okay.
assure you that many people want to know
Hmm.
how drugs affect performance of athletes. There's nobody
Hmm.
in Nigeria that will pick up a podcast or a microphone now and just give this information willingly. This is something that is valuable that you've just shared, so I feel you should not
Okay.
apologize for that, because it's immortalized on the
Okay.
internet forever. It's going to be on
Mhm.
Instagram this week. And that's literally what it is, man. You're giving free gems, and I don't think you should apologize. That's a service to society.
Yeah, thank you. And let me just say one more thing for the people who are listening or curious about taking steroids or any kind of hormonal enhancers. Is there is a time for a lot of things. If you have a major injury, you're trying to recover from it. Sometimes the hospital is actually supposed to put you on stuff to help you in recovery, especially as an athlete. Yes, but you have to have real guidance on how to use these things, because a lot of these things take a huge toll on your heart, on your kidneys, on your skin, your general hormonal profile. And we are a lot more hormonally affected now as human beings of this era because of how our environment is. A lot of us are getting a lot less
Mm,
sunlight, a lot less fresh air, like actual oxygen, and we become a lot more. And our food is different. Our food is a lot less organic than it was. So if in 1985 the bodybuilders were taking all these things and they were fine, you can't take these things so easily, and a lot less people were making them back then. You might say there was a lot less quality control, but there's a lot less people doing it, so there's a lot less trash. Now there's a fake of everything, so you've got to be
mm,
so careful. You might think you're
mm,
taking this thing. I've seen documentary. I think I sent it to you. People making these things in their house. They just
mhm,
label it
mhm,
boxes. They
mhm.
send it, and because we were in Nigeria, like, oh, it's coming from abroad, we think it's
Will
good.
buy,
It's not.
will buy and consume. Yeah,
Yeah, and you destroy yourself, and that's just it.
yeah.
Because we don't have all these things regulated or controlled here. So I would advise that you this is time to lean into your African genetics, which is beautiful. Yeah, we have
Mm,
our flaws. Our eyesight might not be the best. Our eyes don't last very long. We can't swim too good. But trust me, if you the cards you've been dealt, being an African, and you're already an athlete, just know that you're better than a huge percentage of people in those aspects of life. So lean into it,
mm,
cruise it, maximize it. Um, there's no need. And like I said, I'm speaking as a real neutral person. I haven't
yeah,
taken, but I'm saying that I probably will when I'm older. But that's it. So, but you're a
yeah,
younger
yeah,
person. You get
yeah.
into the sport.
So
Don't get into that.
Mayo. So imagine you didn't say what you just said in the past 4 minutes now. Like
Mm,
imagine you didn't, because that's words on marble. Like
mm,
nobody, I can bet you money, nobody in Nigeria has ever said anything about what you just said in this particular topic
mm,
to athletes. Never in the history. And now it's on the
mm.
internet and it's free for everybody and it's forever. It can never be taken away. I feel like we should
Yeah,
look at
yeah.
it, because we matter. We matter way more than we think we do. Like you, Mayo,
I guess so.
you're a big don, or you're a big G, you're a chairman. It's just that because our bank accounts don't look
It's not
as
reflecting
chubby
the
as our personality.
yeah.
Yeah, but so please, man, don't apologize, man. And that's the thing. I want your well of knowledge, because I've spoken with you severally, and that's the thing. I know you're like as smart as they come. So don't even say, oh,
Mm.
you want to keep it brief, or you want to say give it as detailed as you can, because I assure you, because many athletes watch this show. A lot of guys are coming up, like after the show with Maxwell, the number of people. It looks like I'm still here, but Mayo's mic. Mayo, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, back. You we went away for a second, but you're back now. Yeah.
Hello, hello.
I can still hear you. Is it my network that's messing up? Let me check. Yeah, I think I know what's happening. Let me change my Wi-Fi source. Is that better? Am I back? Can you hear me now?
Mayo, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you, bro. Okay, see, this is we're fighting against Nigeria right now, man. The spirit of
So
Nigeria is
I
heavy
had to
up on
change
this
my
show,
I had to change my
but
Wi-Fi
we have to
source.
come out victorious.
Yeah, yes, definitely. I changed from SpectraNet to MTN now, so let's see how that
Boys,
lasts. How long that lasts.
my Mayo, can you hear me?
I can hear you still. Yes,
Hello.
hello. I can hear you still. I can hear. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
I can hear you
My
clearly. I
my
can see you
girlfriend
as
is
well.
sending me messages in the
Oh
background
yeah,
saying this is hilarious. Like, Okay. All right, man. Can you remember? Can you remember where we were?
Yeah, we're talking about nobody in Nigeria
Hello.
is talking about these things, and
Let me switch. Mayo, please speak. I need to confirm that we're on the same
oh yeah, yeah,
line.
yeah. I can still hear you. I can
What's
see.
up? Can you hear me?
Hello, hello. Then
Okay.
Black here, Mr. Fitness.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. Carry on, please. Carry on. Please ignore Nigeria. I'm going to keep calling out Nigeria. That's something I'm committed to, which is whenever there's a challenge, infrastructural challenge on the show, and it's something that I have no control over. Like maybe everything falls apart, the network falls apart, power goes off, everything falls out, like everything, hailstorm, apocalypse, winter, nuclear explosions. I will always blame Nigeria where Nigeria deserves the blame. I promise you. I'm never letting Nigeria off the hook anymore. Like I'm calling this country out
Until they
whenever
get it
it
right, yeah.
robs me of
They get
anything.
it
So
right.
yeah, until they get it right. So yeah, man, you guys need to fix this. I was about to curse, but you guys need to fix this freaking internet, and then I can get my Mr. Dana Black to finish what he's saying. But Mayo, please, where were we before the interruptions?
Uh, I think we're talking about the things that like what Nigerians would never know about what I just talked about with the performance enhancers and all those kind of
Of
things. Yeah.
course.
Yeah. So, and
Yeah, all right.
I also fail
Carry on, please.
to realize as well how many people think about these things or want to know these things too. I definitely, but it's there and it's happening, and people are thinking about these things, and things are even moving faster than I thought. In terms of what's happening with MMA, the sport here in Nigeria,
Mm,
things are
mm.
faster than I acknowledge. Because I'm in a bit of a time warp.
Okay. Please stop.
Mhm.
So we're switching
Okay.
right next into our second topic of the evening, which
Okay.
is, and ladies and gentlemen, you can see it right on the screen now. I want to get your thoughts on combat sports and mixed martial arts in Nigeria. This is just broad. Just go in
Okay.
wherever your mind takes you. We're right on this journey with you.
Oh, okay. So um, I feel like I'm in a bit of a time warp with MMA in Nigeria, and I'll explain why. So in the UK, I feel like I was still part of the initial growth of MMA. I'm definitely not one of the first fighters, but MMA was just becoming a thing when I started. It was still very, very niche and underground. And when shows would happen, it would only be guys. There'd just be guys at the shows. Then it now started becoming more showy in the sense that girls will now come, but the girls that will come will be girlfriends of some of the guys going to the shows. Then it now became kind of cool. Then the fighters now had girlfriends, hot girlfriends, and those ones would bring their friends who want to meet other fighters, and it now became like a proper mix. It now became a thing. Like I get dressed up because once upon a time nobody got dressed up come for a fight show. Everybody looked like they could potentially be a fighter themselves or just sporty dress people. Like, that's just what it looked like. It was very rough. It was very rough. There was a lot of police presence, especially when you're using some venues and when you're using some fighters. And we had this guy, Eric the Viking. If you had him in your show, you would probably have a lot of people come for your show, but all the people that come for your show are very questionable people.
Mm.
And they would have the police presence in your show because multiple fights would probably break out. No, multiple fights will probably break out while that is happening. So, but I watched that change. I watched that evolve. I also went from being a fan of the sport, spectator of the sport, become a fighter. Then I became a show promoter. And when I was doing shows, I was still very early on. I was still part of the early people doing shows as well. So I tasted the early side of MMA in the UK, came to Nigeria, started pioneering that stuff here. These are things I wouldn't say before, guys. I don't know, be shy about it, but that's what it is. I started this whole making this show thing a thing here. Um, from grappling on carpets in the studio, we all had same signature burns on our shoulders from grappling on carpet, um, to just you know slowly evolving MMA into the studio. So we went from just a full fitness studio to a fitness studio with like a fight corner, from a fight corner to a fight back end, from a fight back end to a proper boxing ring, then a boxing ring and an octagon and then a back end, till the point where it became half and half. Half the studio is for fitness, half the studio is for fighting. And
I was there. I was there.
yeah,
I, that
you
was
definitely
that
saw
was
all
that
that happen.
that was my era. When you guys split
Yeah,
in half, that was my
the
era.
birthing of the nerd to the ninja, the young
Of
Jollof, like
course, of
all
course.
that. So
You guys created that whole legend. Like one day me and you will
Universal
talk
Soldier,
about the myths that I've seen, stories that people have told me about myself that I'm in awe of, because I'm
killer.
like, yo, where did you hear this? But a
Hmm.
big part of it came from all that hard work we did in that gym with all the stuff you guys did. It seemed
Hmm.
people from the outside looking in really thought that these guys were just like some other category of human beings. Like we were just weird, but they really believed we were about that stuff, and we were. And so
Yeah.
they only God knows the conversations that happened. Only God knows how it came to be. But I'm just trying to
Hmm.
let you know that all that stuff you're saying, it really did
Hmm.
materialize. Like and
Hmm.
even me. I've gone to Lagos and people have come to meet me in Lagos and be
I
like,
can recognize it.
yo, somebody met me in Lagos and said, yo, I'm such a big fan of you. And the girl he was with, she was trying to pay for an apartment in like some place in like some by the beachfront, like a really
Yeah.
expensive place. And the guy paused from showing her the apartment and held me on the hand, took me to this girl and said, yo, I just want you to know that this guy is a big deal. I've been following him since he was in Abuja. They train in this gym in somewhere. He's really strong. He's a nice guy, but he's like all of them are beasts, like they are animals. And like he introduced me to
Damn.
her, and she followed me on Instagram. I followed her back. But I'm just
Look at
trying to
that.
let you know that it's
Yeah.
real. It's real, man. It's real.
So man, so another time warp. So I went from that to this space. I got so caught up in the pioneering all this stuff that you know, you now become the time itself. You're not aware of the time anymore because you are the time.
Mm,
Then
mm,
it now surpassed me. It went past me. So now I'm at a point where there was once upon a time everything fight show wise in this city happened through me. Now I hear about shows the day after. Like,
mm,
oh, there was a show
mm,
yesterday. Like, oh yeah,
mm, mm, mm,
how did that happen? Like, so I
mm.
went from being very uncomfortable with that to be like, this is where we wanted to be. We wanted to,
Yeah.
we wanted this to be a thing. We wanted, yeah. And now, like, now there's a federation. We spoke about this for the longest time. That was our point of for many things. A lot of two businesses were built based on the fact that that didn't exist. Now it exists. I'm on the WhatsApp group for the officials, for the people that are part of this federation, and they're doing shows in collaboration with the police, and like so much is happening. It's like this is
Bro,
crazy.
please, can you that Nigerian MMA Federation thing with the
Yeah,
police?
yeah.
So I saw the flyer and
Mm-hmm.
the Nigeria the NMMA Fed.
MMA, okay.
Yeah, they sent Combat Culture the a DM with the flyer saying, yo, they're
Oh,
doing
nice.
this on this
This
day.
culture. Okay,
But as you know, between managing the show and all the other things, it's hard for
I
me
get
to
it.
attend to
I
everything.
get it.
So I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't attend. But I saw highlights posted by High Guard
Mm-hmm.
Martial Arts. I saw
Yeah, yeah.
highlights by
From
Taurus
TMA.
Martial Arts,
Yeah.
and I saw the guys fighting. I recognized almost all of them,
Mm-hmm.
but it also made me think, because like this is a crazy full circle moment, because I was thinking to myself, there was a time where I would be in the know of everything, not because I'm a bad guy, not because
Yeah, but
I'm
it
a
was
but I
we were the time.
exactly
Yeah.
yes, and now I'm seeing all like an MMA federation for me. It's like if that can spring up out of nowhere without me knowing about it, then that means the sport has developed wings. Like it's happening
Mm-hmm.
all day, all night across different, and that's great. Like if the
Mm-hmm.
police are getting involved, for me, that's great. I'm like, yo, that's recognition. It might get legal soon. Maybe we'll have a national team or something. I don't know how that will go,
So
but
that's what they're. Okay,
yeah,
sorry, let
I'm
me.
listening to you, man. I'm carry on, please. I just wanted to iterate because it's
Yeah,
something that has been on my mind as well.
so that's what they're working on now, and it is officially legal now in Nigeria, like MMA. So and I'm going to give a shout out to Ambassador Henry. He is the one. So I connected with him years back. He was the Nigerian rep for IMMAF, that's International Mixed Martial Arts Federation, and I know he's been working, and he's based in Port Harcourt, and he had his own show, DFC, I think it was called, and he had his own show going there, absolute brewing some absolute monsters there. He always used to reach out, like he wasn't the typical Nigerian guy, like has a position and just holding it, and even vexing for anybody else trying to enter that space. But he's been doing stuff for a while, and he's also a practitioner. He's also has a background, a martial arts background, and he's been pushing for this for a long time now, and it seems like it's sprung up, but he's been working on this for some time, and he's embraced everything. Because one of his interviews on, I think it was Arise or something, they asked him about, like, what do you think about shows happening that might not be sanctioned by you guys. It's like, and I love this answer. Like, we we are going to get to that point where everything will be sanctioned, but right now we're just happy that people are bothering to do shows, invest in
Yeah.
shows, and
Okay.
yeah. So he sees that he didn't enter office, and he's making all the right connections. He's connected with the Minister of Youth and Sport. Well, at least the former Minister of Youth. I don't know what the connection is now with the new one, but the Minister of Youth and Sport, the Osina, he's done this thing with the police. So he's really getting into all the spaces that that need to be got into, and the and as much as I would have loved to be the one doing the things he's doing, I'm just glad somebody's doing it and doing it at that
Excellent.
capacity too. Because
Excellent.
doing it at that capacity too, because the truth is, I don't think I would have been able to make all those connections and see through. So making the connection is not the problem. I would have I would have met the IG of police, or I'd have met those people, but see through, like, not get distracted by body rocks, not
Mm.
get distracted by any of the other 10 businesses that I that I've now
And
put on hold. Yeah,
bills and
bills, like,
Nigeria. Yeah,
yeah, so
everything.
there's so much, but he is staying true to it. He's staying consistent, and he's pushing through. And I can't be mad at that. I'm happy about that. I'm glad that he and I already have a connection too, and I can be, part of that.
Mm.
Even if it's from a passenger side or from a back seat, I'm just in the vehicle, and I'm glad. And at some point, when I can really show my own capacity to take it even a step further, yeah, great. I'm not
Mm.
focused on what's happening now. And to be fair, this this is probably a different another door open in my own personal development, in the sense that I get ecstatic by being the pioneer, by being the first.
Yeah.
But what's been happening, what happens is, I'll be the first, I'll start it off, then I might start to fatigue, which is normal, or get distracted by something else, or get into something else. And as people just come in from that place and take it big and take it further, and I'm like, but I was the one like that did this
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
So you know what? Let somebody else push it. Then I'll come at the end and
Bro,
take it
bro,
further.
bro, just to ground that a bit. I think
Mm,
that takes a lot of humility to actually
mm,
admit, because the ego, it's the ego isn't a bad thing. It's
mm,
not bad to have an ego. Like,
yeah.
your ego can give you great sense of ambition. You can be
Mhm,
get some great sense of determination from it. You can want
mhm,
to, your ego can be good or bad. There's nothing wrong. Like, because I'm trying to empathize with you now, is what I'm trying
yeah.
to do. Because before, you have to understand, when I didn't know the differentiation between UFC and MMA, I had met you. I learned that the UFC was just a company and MMA was a sport after training with you and learning from
Mm.
you. So if I'm going to empathize and put myself in your shoes, what will be happening to me now is I'm thinking to myself, damn, I really did put my best foot forward. I was there. I commentated the shows that you
Yeah, yeah.
barely broke even, shows that you told me you ran at a loss at, shows that you said you're going
Any,
to restructure. I've been there when you partnered with other people. I've commentated your shows. I've been
mhm.
there at least for a portion of the journey. So to just see the sport just spring up, boom, and all of a sudden you have people doing this and doing, bro. I don't think there's anything wrong about looking at that and being like, yo, I started this shit, yo. Like, what the hell is going on? But at the same
Mm,
time, for me now, what I'm trying to highlight is your humility. Because it
mm,
takes a lot of growth for you to get to the point where you're now going to say, no, everybody do what you're supposed to do. I'll do what I'm supposed to do. And when it's time, we're all going to align and we'll do great things together.
yeah, yeah.
Carry the torch forward as far as you want, as far as you can. I'm doing my bit, and it's all going to come together. And I
Mm.
respect that. I just want to highlight that because it shouldn't be
Thank,
overlooked.
thank you, man. And it was, maybe the way I said it now made it sound like, I'm just naturally a humble guy that took it. It was a tough pill to swallow. Like, there were some moments where I was legit mad, like mad at myself.
Hmm,
Hell, like, just like, what are you doing? Like,
hmm,
where did this guy come from?
hmm,
Like, yeah. And I will even tell you. So, I'm sure you've noticed, and I'll say it on air now. We haven't done our own show this year. 2023 has this, and this is the first year since 2018 that has not had a show. And
hmm.
we're not going to have one. There's how many days left in December? We're not having one. And we were meant to have our first one in March. And I was really excited for it because it was a different kind of show. And we had to postpone it because Salah came at the end of March. Yeah, Salah was coming, so ticket sales were not going so great. But like, okay, and a lot of people were like, let Salah end and let fasting end, and we can do it. We can come for the show. So we postponed it. Then the next day we postponed it to. I went for a show 2 days before, and
Was this was a combat? Was this a combat show?
yes, a fight show. Yeah, I went for a fight show.
Okay.
And I mean, I got so much love entering the place. Like, because I didn't buy a ticket, and I was going to just, one of the fighters was there. He was like, he really
Yo,
wanted
I
me
need
to.
to say this, man, bro. You should never buy a ticket. Like, you should never buy a ticket for any combat show in Nigeria. Even me,
Yeah,
you should
yeah.
never buy a ticket for a combat show in Nigeria,
I agree
bro.
with you there,
We paid our
man.
dues, man. We paid our dues. Carry on.
Yeah, for sure. But I was ready to, because me, I don't like embarrassment. Like, I don't want anybody to come to me anyhow. I'll just pay my money and enter. But I got there, immediately I was like, hey, in the black, come through, and I was taking in, and I sat down, and my show was supposed to be 2 days after this, and I sat down there and I saw the amount of people that showed up for this show, and I knew half of them, but then the other half, I'm like, I don't know these people. This is amazing. Like, where these people come from, and just the production value of the show, just like everything that they are put into it. And
Yo,
I left.
why don't you want to call the name of this show out?
Nah, I don't. I don't want to. I actually don't want to.
All right,
I
man.
don't.
All
I actually
right, all
don't.
right.
Yeah,
All
yeah. I
right, man.
don't,
Carry on. I respect that. Carry on.
yeah. But then I left, and I don't. All I know is that I don't remember driving home. But I got home. But in that, I just kept on thinking about how these guys are calm and they were doing this thing that I was supposed to be doing first, bigger than I was, better than I was. And I was like, man, like, I've been doing shows since the 2000s, like before 2000, like since 2009. What am I saying? 2008, the first recession.
Hmm,
My first show was
hmm,
2008.
hmm,
I mean, it was the 2008. And I'm like, internationally, I did shows other countries, for coming here. I'm
Yeah,
like,
man.
and I sent a text to my manager, and I was like, cancel our show. We're not going to do a show till we can do a show big and
Hmm.
proper. And
Hmm.
that's it. And I said, and it was like, boss, but I was like, no, I'm not doing the show till we can do it big. Because what I've seen, I've been in this bubble of hardship. I'm like, oh, it's hard to sell tickets. People, we've passed that. It's no longer the times. That's what's happening. The time warp. The times have
Yeah.
changed again.
Yes.
No
Yes.
longer is it just getting some big boys come and buy table, and people legit want to see this stuff now.
Of course.
People show
Of
up.
course.
You and I
Yeah.
commentated that big event. Shout out to African Warrior Championship.
Shout out
And
to
the
African
people,
Warriors.
yeah, see the people that were there. It's like these are people who came to watch this. Like, look at how that's evolved. So
Yeah.
I see, I stand by it. A lot of times I will say stuff, maybe I'll change my mind later. It's like, no. Because he ran him again, our boss is like, end of year, are we not going to do? I said, no.
Hmm.
I said, can we do it
Hmm.
big yet?
Hmm.
I said, oh, still too small. I'm thinking too small.
Hmm. Hmm.
And this venue, 200 capacity, no, it's too small. No one here. Oh,
Hmm. Hmm.
hold on. Sorry, my battery is going low. Let's charge
It's
up.
okay, bro. It's
I'm
okay.
just
Give me
gonna.
one. Give me one. Give me 1 second too, because I need to take a fucking leak. Sorry, I just saw
Oh,
it.
okay, okay, great, great,
Just
great.
give me.
You go
Just
do
give me a
that.
second. I'll be right back.
All right,
Yeah.
charge up. All right, great.
Yes, brother. Mayo, can you hear me?
Hey, you're back. All right, nice. Okay.
Yes, yes, yes. So you were talking
Yeah,
about the
I'm
show,
plugged in as
and
well.
okay, all right, man. Please carry on.
Yeah. So every time they bring it up, like, hey, boss, we're going to do a show. I'll be like, no. I like, are we going to do it big? Like, yeah, like, can maybe like 300 people? No, I'm not interested. Till we can. And when I say big, I don't want anything less than 2,000 people. That's just it.
Hmm.
Call me,
I was going to
that's
ask you. I was going to ask you what your definition of big is, but now that
big
you've said
one.
that, yeah, yeah, two
If
thousand
if
people.
it's
That
not
sounds good to me.
if it's not 2,000 people, I'm not interested in doing it. Unless somebody wants us to, but I'm not even talking about those. Unless someone wants us to do like a little boutique show for them, or we're doing something like private audience. Yeah, that's fine. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a rocks fight night. And let me drop something in here for combat culture that nobody else knows. So rocks fight night, the the rebirth of rocks fight night is in its original name. Do you know the original name of my fight show? Like in the UK? You
No,
might
I don't.
know.
I don't recall right now.
If I
I
say
don't
it,
recall.
you know. Kamikaze MMA. So it's coming back
Yes,
as
yes,
Kamikaze
yes,
MMA.
yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
So when you see Rocks Fight Night again, it will one be big, two it will be coming back as Kamikaze. So
okay,
yeah, so those are
okay.
some of the nuggets for 2024 that
Yeah.
you're
And
gonna see.
and and Kamikaze MMA. That's, as the name implies, strictly mixed martial arts, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's the thing is, kamikaze, it directly translates to divine wind, and the kamikaze way was how the pilots we use like the bomb themselves out. Yeah, so it's it's designed chaos. It's orchestrated anarchy. It's
mm,
so it's combat of any form really, but
mm,
MMA was the true origin of kamikaze, and so it's going to lean more into that. But expect to see some unique formats for shows, moving forward.
mm,
Right now, we've just sat down, we decided to just do a lot of thinking and re-strategizing, and but I'll give some, like, I'll expose some things about our team now. Is what I'm looking for is consistent execution. So not just boom, do one time. Everything we do now, like, so everything we've been writing out this year, about what we're going to do next year. I've been very quiet this year. I keep telling you that you've been quiet as well. Like, been quiet, but we're going to make noise soon. But
yeah,
now we're quiet
yeah,
because we're just
yeah,
penning things down. But everything
yeah.
that we're doing is, we think of it in long term. Like, what what does this look like 2 years from now? What does it look like 5 years from now? Nothing is just how we're feeling. It's not about feeling. Oh, we've not done a show in a while. People are asking. It's not about anybody's feelings. It's the plan. It's the design. It's what's been put forward, and that's what we're going to do.
Mm,
So yeah, that's that. So anyway, so combat
yeah.
sports in MMA has been funny for me. I felt like I've transported from different, like, I've been in a time warp, and I've been in different time portals. I was in a early stage part in the UK, came to Nigeria, was this what I became the time. Then the time pushed past me, and I was now behind the times. And now I am working in the time to get ahead of the times. If that makes any sense.
Pastor Mayo in the house. Pastor
Yeah.
Mayo in the house. Bro, 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 bro.
Yeah, man. You
I'm
gotta
with
have
you,
it.
bro. I'm with you.
Yeah, so that's those are my thoughts on combat sport. But things are moving quick, and I'm happy to see it. Things It's the things that we ask for, things we pray for, things we work for, and they're happening. Um, and and yeah, I think I predicted a lot of things, by the way. I predicted that we're going to lose all our African champions.
Yeah, you did. You did. You were
Yeah,
the only person that predicted that, by the way.
yes, it was so weird. I don't know where that came from. I just knew. I just knew it. I felt really pressured at the time. I was like, let us capitalize on this time when these guys are champions. This is time to, to reach out to them. This is time to do this. This is when they can do this. That part I was wrong about, because now that they're no longer champions, actually now I think is the time for them to do all those things.
Mm-hmm.
While they're on top, at the very top, their biggest thing was to try and stay on top.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's just it. And it's like you have a cousin that wins the lottery. That first month or year that you won the lottery is not the time to reach out to the guy, because
Mm.
that time he's still processing this new status, this new money, this you know. So you're gonna think he's a dick because you reach out to him, then he's not gonna answer you.
Of
And funny
course.
enough, why are you reaching out to me now? Now that I won the lottery, why is it now? Why is it now you're reaching out to me? So So I was wrong about that. I was right that they would lose the championship, but I was wrong in thinking that while they were champions was the time to really get them to work. Now that they're no longer champions, there's a layer that has been cleared of the ice. Now is the time. Now that Easy has taken time off, now is the time you're going to get him. I feel like he'll be more open to coming here and spending some time here, almost as much time as Kamaru has. Even yeah, and there's a I think it's something that will naturally happen. Some people just want to touch back to base, to home, or just see life in a different perspective, and like than what you used to. I think now is a great time. I think so. So in what looks internationally like a dip in the African rise, or the rise of the African supremacy,
Mm-hmm.
will actually be just another phase in our our growth, in our reach, becoming a real superpower.
Mm.
Coming,
Mm.
yes, because real superpowers are not shouty. There have
It's
been
in
many of these.
influence. It's
Yeah, there have
influence.
been. That's it.
Influence.
That's
Yeah.
the truth. There have been many of these, music talent shows where the person who didn't come first, who didn't win the show, becomes the famous person.
Of course.
There have been. It's an unusual thing. All the real people that make things move, that shift the needle in this world, you don't know their names. You don't know these people. Like, so you don't know them. Like, that's just true. You don't know them. It's like, but and that's what I feel like. So us gaining that top spot just was a signal. Hey guys, we can do this. Hey guys, those of you who didn't believe, it's been done before now, because that does something to the human psyche. Once it's done,
Mhm.
once it's been done, you can, like the 4 minute mile. For the longest time, nobody thought it was possible. Someone now finally did it. Now high school kids have done the 4 minute mile. But it just needs to happen. So that was the first wave. Let people know, let the world know Africans can do it.
Mhm.
Two, knock us off the top. Now some real work is going to start, some real cerebral work. You're going to start planting, start putting things. That's the time you start thinking about your legacy. In your humble moments is when you think about legacy. Oh, okay. I didn't stay on the top for too long. Now I want to open up MMA schools in Nigeria, so that other people can come. You start thinking about legacy in your humble moments. Nobody thinks that. You don't really. You might think about legacy when you're at the top, but you don't really do anything about it. You're just thinking of something you'll do later, later, later.
Mhm. Mhm.
When
Mhm.
you get knocked off, you're like, I gotta do this thing.
Yeah.
I gotta do this thing.
Yeah.
So I think now is the time where we get the second wave of growth. That growth is not obvious. That growth, not a lot of people will know is happening. Only those who are, educated, that are paying attention, that are watching the Combat Culture Africa podcast on YouTube. Those people who hang around with Young Jollof, go for runs and work out with him, work out in Bodyrox. Those are the only people that would know.
Mhm.
So if you know, you're privileged.
Yeah. 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 Permit me to throw my contribution into that.
Please.
I've thought about it a lot. You know. Um. We had all these plans in 2019, like 2020. We said we're going to go to Thailand for my first amateur fights. We had all these
Mm.
things, and the landscape has changed just like this, like just literally overnight. But at the same time, I also, and the thing is, you have to layer it with the global development of the sport. So what the MMA leader is the UFC. And then you see Kamaru Usman lost his belt. Then he lost his rematch. Sorry, he lost his fight versus Kamzat Chimaev. Then lost the
Mhm.
rematch before that with Leon Edwards, and then Israel Adesanya goes against Sean Strickland and then loses. So like that Sean Strickland loss just felt like a bad dream
Like,
constantly.
how?
Like you were just watching front row seats of a bad dream and you watched it happen. And then you see Sadiq Yusuf, he lost versus Edson Barbosa recently. And
So,
then you see Francis Ngannou left the UFC. Then he's our one bright spot from Cameroon who
yeah, yeah.
goes to the PFL, then
PFL.
fights Tyson Fury and comes out the people's
The
champ in that
people's
fight.
champion. Yeah, yeah, of course.
Yeah, and it's made me have to now. I've talked about local. I've talked about global. Now, what about me personal? How does
Mm,
that affect me
mm,
personally? Personally, it made me have to find something worth fighting for
mm,
that went beyond my identity. Like, I wanted to say this earlier. You were saying something earlier about how the world has changed and how your staff, you've grown, like you've gotten staff and you've grown them, and people, everything about the world is just different. And I have this theory, right, that I've never shared online or anything, and it's that we've moved from the age of conformity to the age of the individual, the age of identity. So
mm,
whereas people used to get a lot of their self-worth from their churches, from their school. Which school did you go to? I went to Loyola Jesuit College. Oh, that must be a
mm,
prestigious school. Now you're in a position where people are like, I feel social media has dialed our ability to pick up on bullshit. So all of us know what is authentic a lot quicker than our ancestors or our parents ever
Yep.
did. Like
Yep.
all you
Yep.
need is five seconds seeing a person talk, and you know whether they're bullshitting you or not.
Yep.
And that's the age of the individual now, because now you can't hide behind your conformed identity. You can't hide behind your institution. You can't hide behind your school. You can't hide behind your church. People
Yeah.
see you and they relate with you as you.
You are you.
So for me, I've been thinking recently, like, yo, MMA has changed. We had this Three Kings era of African MMA and all these guys that I loved and I pushed. And I won't lie, bro. I marketed a lot of combat culture and my personality around Israel Adesanya,
Yeah.
Kamaru
Yeah.
Usman, and Francis
Yeah.
Ngannou. There
That's
was not
nothing.
a lot of me. There was no combat culture inside of combat culture. There was no Mayo Icebox Okunnu. It was no, we're riding on the coattails of whatever these guys do. And I
Mm.
get it, because we started off as fans, but the growth of the sport transcends any one individual.
Yeah.
I've met Kamaru Usman.
Yeah.
I
More
have
times
plans
than
to meet to, yeah, man, more times than one. And the thing you now discover is everybody has their struggle.
yeah.
Everybody has their journey. Like, as me and you are thinking about how can we take body rocks forward, how can we take combat culture forward, how can we raise MMA and combat sports in Nigeria, that's the same way these guys are thinking about their careers. That's the way they're thinking about their families. That's the way they're
Yep.
thinking about their coaches, decisions, everything. Because if you imagine that you've been an athlete all your life, and
Mm.
then you all of a sudden you go from being the champion to losing your rematch for the belt, and then now you have to come to terms with the fact that, yo, I may have to look at things other than being an athlete now. I may have to
Mm.
set up
Yeah.
businesses. I may have to, and
Yeah.
that's what leads into what you were saying perfectly, which is now you have this second wind of health coming into the zeitgeist, into our overall consciousness. People
Yeah.
are coming back. Sadiq Yusuf was here 2 weeks ago. Kamar Usman has been doing the
Mm.
African knockouts in Nigeria. Israel
Mm-hmm.
Adesanya
Mm-hmm.
has come to visit. You have all these things. Francis Ngannou with what he's doing in Cameroon,
Mm.
all these
Yeah.
things just happening. Kennedy and Chukumi and you met him, UFC light heavyweight.
Yeah. Coming through.
And
Yeah.
I look at it more now as a thing of patience. Like, I feel like this is more validation that even though you're not at the top of the heap, even though you are not the one that people call to organize every show. And that's an unrealistic expectation, but just go with me for the sake of narration. Even though you're not that guy, every single thing that you and I predicted, you mainly, I learned from you. Then eventually I began to see how the patterns form. But everything that you called came to pass. And I feel like
Mm.
if that's a validation that anybody needs, is that, yo, what I said happened. And
Mm.
and that means I can do it again.
Yeah.
Replicability, I can
Yeah.
definitely do
Yeah.
it again. And so MMA is crazy, bro. I'm at a point now where I'm looking at how things are going. Let me give you, since you gave personal information, let me share
Yeah.
personal information
Okay.
with you. My thoughts on this, on everything combat sports in Nigeria now, is take a step back and just watch what happens, but watch what happens with the expectation. Like, my thought process is who they say they are. Like, if you
Mm.
met me and you told me you were going to put a show up and you said you were going to put 2,000 people, you were going, like you just said to me now, 2,000 people, this
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that. Tell me you're going to do a live broadcast. My own is, out of all the people that step on the scene, how many of them do what they say they are going to
Yeah. I
do?
think we do.
Then out of that number, the few that my character and my personality gel
Align
with,
with. Yeah.
I'll work with. Before, it was that I was so desperate for an opportunity. I love the sport so much. I'm so broke. I'm so this, that. Anybody that
Just.
comes, I'm willing to hop in. But now I've kind of realized that we're in the age of the individual. Every
Mm-hmm.
single, like, I've proved my worth as an individual. This podcast is a testament to that. And if I look at a promoter, if I look at a manager and I say, yo, I'm not going to commentate your show, I want to see you do 2 shows, then call me after that.
Yeah.
Am I really out of line? Am I really out? I don't think I'm out of place for
You're
doing that.
not.
Uh, and yeah, and that's
And
sort
if
of where I'm at now, man.
I love that. I love that. And if I can jump in there, this thing that you're doing, I've started doing it as well. And funny thing is that years back, I used to look at investors or financiers, as dicks because they would tell you, gotta start. I'm like, but I told you that I need you to start. You have to even gotta start. Like, so
Mm-mm.
is like you don't believe in what I'm going to do. And that's how I
Of
saw it.
course.
But now
Of course.
being in that position where I tell people to go and start, I understand better that it's not about them not believing what you can do, but there's a certain amount of yourself you need to invest, and you need to figure out for yourself if you're really about this. And that's what
Of
you're trying to
course.
test. Are
Yeah.
you really? Because a lot of people will say this is what they want to do. Even hell, I say a lot of things that I want to do and I don't end up doing it. So it's just a test. You need to know for yourself if you're really about it. Then if I see that you're really about it, then I'm going to come in. And if it's something that is truly going to become something great, it shouldn't matter what time I come in. When I come in, I'll blow it up. Like if it's doing great, it's got you 10x from where you were now. Let's 100x it
Of
with,
course.
with what I have to bring.
Of
And
course.
if you 10x it and 10x in it has already taken you past what I can do for you, it's still fine.
Of
Then,
course.
then I was never the person for you.
Yeah.
I was never the person to get you to where you're supposed to get to. So like I said before, I no longer mind being the villain in someone's story because ultimately you will be all right. So, you will be all right. I
bro,
don't
bro,
mind.
bro. Thank you for saying that, man. Thank you for saying
You'll
that.
be all
I
right.
told Kene. Kene is watching this podcast right now. I
Okay.
told Kene on the phone on Thursday. I said, bro, don't be the protagonist in somebody else's story. So the fact
Hmm.
that you just said to me, I don't mind being the antagonist in somebody's story,
I really don't
bro.
know.
Do you know what you've just done to my brain? You've just validated that, okay, I'm happy we're recording this podcast. It's exactly what I should be doing. And yeah, God, thank you. Let's keep going. But bro,
Legit.
we've done 1 hour and 25 minutes left. It's not like
Yes.
I have any issues with talking or
Yeah,
go
but
or
let's not keep
talking
it
this
too
long.
long, man.
Yeah,
Of
let's
course.
not keep it too long. And so now, I'm gonna get you on the show again soon. I mean, you're a co-founder, like you're
Happy
one
to
of
have
us,
it. Yeah.
so I'm getting you on the show again. But this is what I want us to end with. You, ladies and gentlemen at home, I just want you guys to know that Mayo has no clue what. Look at how chapped my lips are, man, bro. I'm coming from my parents'
Oh yeah.
Thanksgiving,
You
and
can't. It's not
yeah,
showing
man,
on
and
this end.
it's not showing. Okay, man, maybe it's just
Well,
my head. All
yeah.
right, good stuff.
It's
Let's
super
ignore
HD.
that then. So Mayo has no clue what the next question is going to be, and this is it. So Mayo,
Oh yeah,
yeah, what are your
yeah.
plans for
Okay.
the future?
I mean, I'll make it quick. So I have said a few things already, but okay, one of the main things I have for the future is a lot of my business operations are going to look different in the new year. And by different, I mean you're going to see me. People are going to have a lot less. It might be bad news for a lot of people, but people are going to have a lot less access to me, and that is to give my mind room to think properly. I'm committing my mind to only top decisions that need to be made. A lot of the tiny ones, I'm not going to be interested in anything like that. And I'm going to start with all the bleak stuff. So from next year, people should expect a lot of no's from me. Like a lot of things that they ask for, they know. That's even if you have access in the first place. And but the bright side of that is you can expect some really scaled up versions of everything that you've seen me do. Some rebirths of some things that I've done in the past that might have gone on pause or you haven't seen anything in a while. Um, you will also get to know the real me a lot more because I am going to be out there a bit more. In fact, let me say a bit more, a lot more. Saying a bit more just now is me kind of copying out from my own idea, but a lot more than you have. You got to get to know a lot more about me, the true me, not the internet me. Um, and that means a lot of you that thought you liked me before might not like me anymore. But some people who didn't like me might end up liking me. The point is, I actually don't care about that part. But just expect to see a scaled up version of everything that you've seen from me already. Nothing particularly new, just a scaled up version of everything you've seen. So Body Rocks, you're going to see a scaled up version of that in terms of some different things I might not want to say just yet. Um, Main Men, our male grooming business. You're going to see that in a scaled up version. You're already seeing a scaled up version of combat culture. That's not thanks to me. That's thanks to Young Jollof over here, who has really kept that fire burning. Even in times when you haven't seen him. Expect to see a scaled up version of Heat. That's my health evaluation analysis and testing company for athletes. Expect to see more of Minister of Fitness, more of Dana Black appearances. Expect to just see, and then also the S&M show, the Skelly Mayo show. Expect to see some more of that, scaled up version of that. Then I'll just drop one thing that only a few people know. It's a new podcast that are going to be coming through from me. I'm the only one of that show. It's a
Mm.
solo project, um, but it's one that is leading to another big project of mine for a couple of years' time. That's my deadline, 2 years.
I love
Um,
that. I love
yeah,
that.
so that's just it. So nothing necessarily new apart from that one thing, that new podcast that is
Yeah.
starting. Everything else is just a scaled up version of things you've seen in the past.
Okay. Beautiful, man. Beautiful. You have a question from one of our viewers. Actually,
Oh
you have
wow.
two questions. So, the first one was a comment. This is the
Okay.
comment on the screen now. Can you see it?
Humble Dana Black.
All right, that's from Wavy Jones.
Thank
So
you. Thank
now
you. Thank you very much,
we're
Baby
going
Jones.
into his first question, which is this.
Is it tough managing a gym or is it just repetitive work? So it's not the gym that is tough to run, it's the people. People are the
Mm,
toughest part of business, I feel. This everything I'm going to tell you is my personal opinion. So in every business, there's people, there's process. Process, if you can handle, if you can get that working right, you're on a very, very good trajectory. But the people are the tough part to deal with. So Nigeria is a place where you known as there's plenty of labor force. The labor force is large, big volume, but the labor force is very majority of it is very unskilled, and those general things that you class as employee ethics are lacking. People have different backgrounds. People bring things from home, people from religious, things from faith, and they use that to live their or to work their employee lives. And a lot of those things are detrimental to business in general. So a lot of the time, you can't just go through a normal employee cycle of okay, inject this person into this space and the person just gets on and gets it going good. Those usually are very few people, like 1 in 10 that you get like that. The rest you have to go through this process of unlearning and then relearning and rewiring and reprogramming people to work at the best capacity for you. So that's the toughest part, managing people. And especially for me too, because I personally don't like, this is another thing, another gift God gave me that I struggle with is being responsible for people. I don't like being responsible for adults, not even kids too. I just don't.
mm,
Adults more because I feel like adults should be adults and I don't have to be holding your hand. But business has forced me to learn how to hold people's hands sometimes. And my style usually is my persona usually is I don't like what you've done and I'll keep it inside me and I want you to figure it out yourself that what you did was stupid. But now I express better. Hey, that was dumb. I don't like it. Do it different.
mm,
So that has helped me. Has helped the people. It was uncomfortable for me because I'm changing my how I usually do things. So how what my personality is like. My personality usually is just to keep quiet about it. Like,
mm,
but
mm.
you can't do that in business. So to answer your question, it's tough managing the people. The gym itself is not the problem. It's the people that is the problem, and that
Mm.
goes with people, your staff, and also people, your clients. Clients can be difficult too, especially in Nigeria.
Yeah,
They can give you
yeah,
a just
yeah,
because they want to give you
yeah.
a so
True,
things like
true. Okay, and he follows up with this one. Thank you for that for that answer, by the way.
that. No,
And
thank you.
this is his follow up.
So yeah, so management in a broader sense, exactly. So managing the people, managing your employees, and managing. I started from them, and I use them as a focal point because if you can get a good team together and you manage them well, they will translate to how they manage the clients of the place. Because there are people that just maybe they're not even born naturally problematic, but it's their own way of reacting to what the world dishes out to them. Maybe they've had a shit day at work maybe their boss was shitting on them all day, and now they come to you in the evening to work out. But now this is the opportunity to shit on someone else. Like maybe being maybe the last born at one point, your older brother has beat you up so much. You now have a younger brother and now come after. All that beating they gave me, I'm gonna
I'm
beat
going to
this.
do it now.
I say it's not as if you were born a troublesome guy, but all that punishment you chopped, you can't whoop your older brother's ass. So
Hmm.
I want to
Hmm.
whoop this
Hmm.
one. So
Hmm.
sometimes we get a lot of backlash from how people have, what they come in with. People come in with also energy, coming negative energy, dark energy sometimes. And some people have become even reliant on us fixing that for them. I want to come in and I want to leave with this energy not here, not with me anymore. And instead of actively processing it during or taking it out on the weight, so they take it out on, and that could be anything. It could be the receptionist just said something that just irked me. 'Cause-
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the receptionist said it to me last week. I was fine, but this week I don't want to hear that. You
Mm.
know, and I blow up. So it's the people. The people are the difficult part.
Mm.
But I think once you wire your mind, like Gary Vaynerchuk said, just lean into the things that you find difficult. And that's a funny thing because I do that with exercise. Like
Yeah.
everybody hates burpees, but
Yeah.
everything I hate, I do it so much till I just don't hate it anymore. It just becomes, yeah, it's what it is. So I can do burpees all day now, which I did for the hardest mile. And the
Yeah.
documentary will come out on that soon. Um,
Shout outs to technique of the week.
yeah, 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 yeah. So, so, y- so, Victoria Vaynerchuk does lean into all the things that you find difficult. If you find having tough conversations difficult, if you find managing people, so that's what I've learned. It's like just lean into it. I don't like confronting people or talking to people about stuff. I just want them to figure it out themselves. But like, hey, they're not going to figure it out, so you just tell them. So instead of
Yeah.
them making the same mistake again, and then what I even found with that is when I now tell you, if you do it again, I have more leg to stand on to really get harsh with you. I can punish
Of
you. Like, look,
course. Of
I told you this.
course.
But if I didn't tell them before, I'm like, yeah, maybe because I didn't tell them. I can make excuses for them. So
Hmm.
we'll move past all that. So yeah, I hope I answered your question. Management in
Thank
broader
you.
sense is difficult to talk to people. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I have a question for you,
Okay.
and it's two questions. So that's
Okay.
how the show is going to end today.
Hmm.
If you could give, because this is combat culture Africa, the combat is there for a reason.
Yes. Yeah.
If you
Exactly.
could give, if there was a piece of advice you could give any fighter in the world now, something that is valuable to you and you feel would enable their long-term success, what would it be?
I'm gonna I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna say this to the one fighter who has stuck, you know, stuck with me and brand. Aside you now, from the beginning, a good kid that just tends to have some bad runs. So I'm talking about Michael Hero, Dawodu. Um, I like the kid a lot. He probably doesn't know that how much I like him. I I wish I had the resources to really to adopt him. Like I'll just tell his parents, I'm taking this guy for 1 year and I'll bring him back to you. You can visit him now again, but I'm going to take him away because he has the mind that I never had. Like this true belief. Someone just really believes in what they can do. I find that so admirable. Even with the losses, you have losses, and he'll tell you he's going to fight again the next day, like he wants to.
Yeah.
And but I feel like he needs to be removed from the environment that he is in, even though he's in a great environment where his parents support him, which is good. But what I mean a working environment or with the job that he has, give him another job that is kind of embedded within this space. So
Hmm.
he's constantly in that space where he gets to train every day as opposed to 2 days a week or one session by himself or one with me. Like and then access to coaches, not just me. So when I had my coach, Coach Ian, I did. I was always talking to him because his mind was the thing that But I would still go and do my physical training with other guys. I would go to Glasgow, and he would know about. I'll go to Scotland and I'll train with them for weeks because there you have like 50 guys to spar with on a night. Like that's the amount of variety you have to train. So that is what I would do for him. That's what I would want to do for him. I feel like if he could come out from that environment for just 1 year, because he's young enough. One
How
year,
old? How old is Michael?
I don't know, but I'm sure he's in his early 20s still.
He's a kid. He's a kid.
So he's young enough. 1 year out to real dedicated training, and the sky is the limit, literally.
Hmm.
Because based on him facing this many losses and still always wanting to, then clearly that fire is coming from somewhere else.
It is. It is. It is. I know I've trained with Maxwell a few times under
Okay.
your supervision, and
Mm.
when he came to the life camp gym that I was
Okay.
helping you
Yeah.
run.
Slaughterhouse. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, Slaughterhouse. I worked with him at Slaughterhouse, and but hearing you talk about him like this puts him in a different light in my eye because obviously I
Mm.
respect you so much,
Yeah. Yeah.
and if you're saying this about him because I've known about your relationship with him, and
Mm.
I know how restrictive our environment can be for young athletes. There's no opportunities. It's literally you against the world. I'm
Mm.
going through that gauntlet myself. I just have to give him props, and if he's impressing you, then what I will say is, even me, I'll throw in my hat towards supporting him with the
I
media
love that.
side, with the representation side. Like, if he's truly, because my biggest issue with Abuja as a city has
Mm.
been that I've been waiting for the chosen one since I started training, and everybody lacks character, everybody lacks integrity, everybody loses their focus when money is thrown in their face, and
Yep. Yep.
it
Yep.
irritates me so much because
100%.
in this game, loyalty is everything. And
I
so
agree.
if you're talking about him with this kind of regard, then I'll throw in a bit of my chips in on
Mm.
his side as well. Let me just see how that goes. But
Yeah.
yeah, but you have one
Oh,
more question though. That's not the only
okay.
one.
Okay.
But
Okay.
can you
Okay.
say
Okay.
what you were just about to say?
Because so he has also it's not all been positive. In fact, there's a lot of negative. There's a lot of things that there's a lot of choices he's made that I've not been happy with. But is that he will keep coming. But I feel like I need to pluck him out of where he is
Yeah,
for you
the
to see
environment.
who he actually is. I feel
Hmm.
like I've seen it. It's weird. I can't explain. No, I can never explain those things that I see. I can see it, but I need to pluck him out. I need to just have one just say, come out. And
Hmm.
I know his parents, his mom at least, respects me a lot too. I know she would agree, but I need to have the capacity to. I don't have the
To do
resources
so.
to look after another person right now. I don't. But
Hmm.
if I did, I would pull him out,
Yeah,
and I would really, really harvest that boy.
yeah.
That's how like I'm trying to take his organs, but harvest his potential.
Ah!
Harvest his potential. I mean,
Okay, okay, okay,
yeah.
okay. All
Sorry.
right.
Next
So
question.
1 minute and 42 questions.
Okay.
So now you've given advice to fighters like upcoming, and you specifically directed it at Michael, which I love, which means
Mm,
somebody gets inspired as a result of this podcast, which is all this podcast is about. The
mm,
second one is, if you were to look at yourself
mm.
of yesterday, yesterday could be last year, it could be your last major fuck up, it could be anything. But if you could look at yourself at yesterday as you are now and say something kind, what would it be? To the hearing of everybody, what would it be?
Um, you're not a bad guy. That's the honest answer. You're not you're not a bad guy. Sometimes I just think, yeah, but I'll tell myself I'm not a bad guy. Like, don't worry, you're not a bad guy.
Yeah.
Because it matters to me
All
what
right,
I
man.
think about
And
myself.
yeah, 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 yeah. If you would you like to give any more detail into like any more, or is that are you okay with just
Um,
sharing that? Is there more? we can end on that note. Like if you want to go
Yeah,
deeper.
so it still joins in with my new stance on not minding being the villain in someone's story. Um, because of how some people might react to some of the things that I would do, the decisions I would make, I sometimes would label myself based on their reaction to their current reality that I might have had a hand in, in making a decision on. And I would not let that happen anymore. And that doesn't mean so there are times that I will get it wrong. I will do the wrong thing. I'm not excusing doing bad things. I'm just saying that I'll be kinder to myself by telling myself, hey, you're not a bad guy. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's just
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Mayo Icebox Okunnu is not a bad guy. I think that's a perfect note to end this podcast on. I think I should do the social media shout outs now. If you've stuck with us for all 1 minute, 1 hour and 45 minutes of this show, this is the Combat Culture Africa podcast. We are Combat Culture Africa on Instagram, on Facebook, and on Twitter. We're active on Instagram. We're a bit more active less active on Facebook, and we're not active on Twitter, but we have an account. Just bear with us for now. My name is Oche Young Jollof Edache. I am your host. One part of four people who set this podcast up, being Chidi B-Boy, the male Nwankwo, Innocent Skelly Edache, my older brother, also one of my best friends, Icebox Mayo Okunnu, who you are also seeing on the screen now, and me, your humble host, Oche Edache. I hope we see you guys again with us next Sunday. I'm going to get Mayo again on the show because we didn't even go into
okay.
MMA technique. We didn't even go
Yeah.
into the development of the game as a sport. What are people doing? What's working? What do you think the future of the sport is going to be? But I'm going to ask you now so that you can start to ruminate on it, and then the next time we see you, just go ham on what you think. But I really want you to think about African and Nigerian MMA. What are the things that you've been seeing that have been succeeding, and the skill gaps in training, and what you
Mm,
think the future is? And at a time that is convenient to you, we'll do this again.
sure thing. Thank you
And
so
our
much for having
audience,
me.
yeah, man. Mayo, God bless you. I can't even let you say thank you because I should be thanking you. Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for being an amazing guest.
Yeah,
And yeah, man. Send us an email, audience members at home, combatcultureafrica@gmail.com. Or if you want to reach me specifically, the Nigerian nerd at gmail.com with any of your questions to have them featured on future shows. To all our guests who signed in, all five of you that watched this entire broadcast, I say thank you. Follow us on social media. Follow Mayo at Icebox, Bodyrox at Fitness, Icebox Bodyrox at Instagram. Bro, please give us your social media before I butcher it, please.
Follow me at Icebox Body Rocks on Instagram. That's the only place really to catch me on. And I drop some nuggets on Threads as well. It's the same handle on Threads.
Okay.
So if you want to hear some
Okay.
nuggets, you can go
Okay.
there.
Is Threads good? I've not downloaded Threads. Is it good?
I, I never really was a Twitter guy, so Threads is just like a easy. Threads is just like my
Middle
own. Yeah,
middle
I'm
ground.
okay on that. I put
Yeah.
some nuggets on there. Yeah.
Okay. 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 All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I need to go pee. Mayo needs to go live his life. Thank you for tuning in, and we love you. You're going to see
Thank you very much.
our outro graphic in 3, 2, and 1.
Boom.
Is it on?
Nope, not yet. I'm
Is
still
it
here.
on? Is it on?
Nope, not yet.
Oh, my days,
It's still
fam. What's
not.
happening?
Welcome to the greatest show on the planet.
I'm so mean, I make medicine sick. That's bad.
This is Combat Culture.
Culture.